You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
The immortal opening words of Dr. Dre provide a succinct mission statement of Straight Outta Compton, the lead single and opening track of hip-hop group N.W.A.'s debut album of the same name, released in 1988. In a viscerally enthralling and frightening manner, N.W.A. shone a light on the tribulations of inner-city black youths, representing and providing a voice for a world that was largely ignored by political administrations. Straight Outta Compton changed the landscape of hip-hop forever, and introduced gangsta rap to the masses. Hip-hop underwent a period of innovation during the 80s, thanks partly to more sophisticated recording and sampling equipment, allowing artists greater freedom to flex their creative muscles. Similarly, the lyrical content of hip-hop music evolved, moving away from party-based anthems of escapism to more socially conscious songs that provided a voice for Black Americans, much like soul music had done in the 60s. New styles emerged, and hip-hop began to splinter into subgenres, with N.W.A. embodying the hardcore grit of gangsta rap. N.W.A. didn't create gangsta rap. Arguably, it was forged by the likes of Schoolie D and Ice-T, but they certainly pioneered and popularized it. Crucially, on Straight Outta Compton, N.W.A. provided a menace that hadn't been heard in hip-hop before. Hip-hop may have originated in New York, but with Straight Outta Compton, N.W.A. demonstrated that it was equally at home on the West Coast. Los Angeles is often paraded as a sun-kissed playground of the rich by the media, but Compton was distinctly the opposite. Gripped by poverty and gang-fueled warfare, Compton was a city ignored by the Reagan regime. As an opening track, few songs could lay a claim to packing the punch that Straight Outta Compton does. Bristling with anger and intent, it provided an explosive glimpse into the upbringing and lives of the group's members: Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, MC Ren, Arabian Prince, and DJ Yella. Drenched in hyperbole, the realities of life in Compton are painted bare amongst the bravado as the group mixes politics and profanity. Ice Cube provides a brazen opening that immediately grabs your attention, and there's a hint of pride as he declares himself
Straight Outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
As introductory statements go, his proclamation of being a crazy motherfucker is as bold as they come, and sets the tone for a song swimming in braggadocious intent. He provides a plethora of warnings for those who might think about crossing him. When I'm called off, I gotta saw it off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. Ice Cube's shocking proclamations provide an insight into the dog-eat-dog world he has grown up in, leaving him desensitized to violence and recognizing it as a necessary evil as a form of protection. He talks about guns with an alarming casualness to those not exposed to his world. AK-47 is the tool. Don't make me act a motherfucking fool. There's a certain swagger and sense of invincibility in his dexterous wordplay that almost mask the horrors he raps about. MC Ren takes up the reins in a similar manner, professing himself a crazy-ass nigga, a bad motherfucker, and a motherfucking villain. Ren's words could be perceived as glorifying a gangster lifestyle more. More punks I smoke, yo, my rep gets bigger. But equally, he describes how music provides an alternative way to enhance his reputation and earn money. However, he expresses frustration at the media, referencing the group's lack of radio airplay. But the pussy-ass niggas won't show this. Due to the song's explicit language and afraid of potentially condoning the violence rapped about, it was widely shunned by the music press. Ironically, its lack of airplay garnered it greater infamy and, ultimately, a bigger audience. Sadly, while the graphic violence the group depicts can be shrugged off as harsh realism, the misogyny and sexism that pervades the track are harder to brush off and represent a nastier side to the group. Ren talks about women in a derogatory manner. So if you're at my show in the front row, I'ma call you a bitch or a dirty asshole, painting them as mere sexual objects. Eazy-E tried to provide some clarification in a rare 1993 interview with NBC.
Bitches, it's a difference. I figure a bitch is someone that does like scandalous things to you.
However, his claims are lessened by the multiple accusations of violence against women by fellow member Dr. Dre. Like Ice Cube, Ren displays a similarly ruthless attitude, likely forced by the perilous nature of his surroundings. Anybody who gets in Ren's way can expect to go one way. And once you're on the scope, your ass is through. It's difficult to ascertain how serious these statements are, but Ren exhibits a swagger beyond Ice Cube and Eazy-E, affirming himself as the group's main man. Not the right hand, cause I'm the hand itself, ensuring that his status and reputation is never in doubt to the listener. Eazy-E supplies the track's final verse, and announces himself in a merciless fashion not too dissimilar to Ren. Straight Outta Compton as a brother that'll smother your mother and make your sister think that I love her. Often regarded as the group's unofficial de facto leader, especially considered he founded Ruthless Records, the label that released the group's material, Eazy-E demonstrates appropriate confidence, describing himself as a dangerous motherfucker raising hell. Raising Hell could also be interpreted as a nod to the 1986 Run DMC album of the same name, the first hip-hop album to receive a Grammy nomination and a clear influence on the group. Despite this, Eazy-E paints himself as an elusive figure. I see a motherfucking cop, I don't dodge him, but I'm smart, lay low, creep a while. On one hand, his words could be construed as being artfully deceptive, deliberately avoiding the law and its potential ramifications. On the flip side, his actions might be necessary, and arguably he is making a comment on the treatment of ethnic minorities by the police. Laying low allows him to avoid any potential hassle. The group's thoughts on the police are demonstrated emphatically in the highly controversial track, Fuck the Police, a song that provoked a disdaining letter from the FBI and led to some police officers refusing to work security at the group shows. Straight Outta Compton's video, directed by Rupert Wainwright, fully demonstrates the group's frustration at racial profiling and discrimination carried out by the police. The video sees Ice Cube and Ren chased around Compton by the police, eventually being arrested and placed in a holding van despite seemingly committing no crime. Eazy-E drives alongside the van in a convertible, yelling at the driver who consistently ignores him, a sharp comment on the disregard displayed towards many black youths by the police. The track concludes with residents pelting the van with rocks as it leaves the neighborhood, a clear confirmation of the tension simmering between the police and black communities in Compton. Musically, the track utilizes the Roland TR-808, a drum machine synonymous with hip-hop thanks to the bass-heavy beats it can generate. Combined with some shrewd sampling selections, notably the drums from funk group The Winstons' Amen Brother, the production creates a dense, hard edge that mirrors the lifestyle they rap about. Additionally, the track includes sound effects such as sirens, gunshots, and screeching tires, effectively bringing the streets of Compton to life. The song propels along at a fast tempo that exacerbates the song's aggressive energy, utilizing a similar strategy taken by Public Enemy on their legendary 1988 album It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Crucially, the trio's individual, distinctive delivery ensures the track doesn't just become an extended monologue, and each verse packs a unique punch. Each rapper's performance has an attack and urgency that gives the track a live feel. It feels raw and slightly unpolished, manufactured from the heart, not the studio. Straight Outta Compton was derided in many quarters for its violence-laden, sexist, and obscenity-filled lyrics, regarded as glorifying a gangster lifestyle. Its disturbing content and lack of moralizing both enhanced and damaged its credibility. But despite its censorship, the single went platinum in the US and the UK. It could be deemed as promoting a lifestyle of mindless violence to impressionable children, but arguably, it is a song born from its environment that paints the truths that people were happy to ignore. Encountering the atmosphere of the streets, the track provided an alternative but vital education. Ice Cube made telling comments on the reception the group's music received, stating, "In the black community, the ministers and teachers don't deny the problems we rap about exist, but they'd rather sweep it under the rug." Straight Outta Compton perhaps isn't the group's most politically minded song, but it stems from an anger that much of society can't identify with. The group's idea was never to glorify, but rather to document the problems they faced in Compton. If the song delved into preaching territory, it would have surrendered its authenticity. The track's legacy endures today, and was hoisted back into the mainstream media by the 2015 biopic of the same name. 27 years after its initial release, Straight Outta Compton found a new generation and became the group's highest charting single, reaching number 38 on the Billboard Hot 100. It has been lauded with retrospective praise, with Rolling Stone placing it at number 248 in its 2021 list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. The hard-hitting style of Straight Outta Compton certainly resonated with future generations of rappers. Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac all count N.W.A as a considerable influence on their careers, with Eminem in particular embodying the group's brash style. Equally, the group's music had a substantial impact on Kendrick Lamar, arguably hip-hop's biggest star today. While Kendrick's socially conscious, more poetic style differs greatly from the group's approach, having grown up in Compton, their music held a special resonance with him. I grasped early that N.W.A were talking about the lifestyle folks around me were living. Unfortunately, the inner-city hardships portrayed in Straight Outta Compton still exist, and the song has just as much relevance today as it did 35 years ago. While crime rates have reduced significantly in Compton, America is still plagued by poverty. In 2021, it was estimated that 19.5% of black people in the US were living below the poverty line. The murder of George Floyd in 2020 by a police officer demonstrates that police brutality against African Americans, a theme that N.W.A frequently touched upon, remains a prevalent issue and one in desperate need of solving. Floyd's murder led to an upsurge in streams of the police, as people tapped into the group's anger. Ultimately, Straight Outta Compton wasn't deliberately incendiary or provocative. Gangster rap was a label thrust upon the song, but the group argued it was realist rap, a notion supported by Eazy-E, who proclaims his verse an autobiography of the E. The realities may have been beyond many of their consumers who engaged more in its rebellious nature, but Straight Outta Compton is essentially what it says on the tin, a no-holds-barred encapsulation of lifestyles in an impoverished and neglected community.